Hey everyone, Cameron from Anime Chat Reviews. Today's review will be on Twin Star Exodus. Hope you enjoy. Let's start with a little about the manga. Twin Star Exodus is a supernatural fantasy action shonen written by, because I don't want to say his name wrong. The manga has reached its 9th volume. It's pretty good. Not the best, but it's pretty good. However, the anime Twin Star Exodus has been airing since April 2016 and doesn't quite live up to the expectation of the manga. Well, at least for me, it didn't quite live up to that expectation. The series is about a pair of young Exodus, or Onmyoji, who fight impurities called Kagari, intruding from a parallel world Magano into the human world. The pair, according to the prophecy, would give birth to the ultimate Exodus who is capable of wiping out every evil spirit. Now let's jump into the more important stuff. For me, manga has always been better than the anime, with a few exceptions. Unfortunately, this is not one of those exceptions. Having read the manga, I was really hyped for the series, so in the beginning, everything seemed a lot better with the excitement. However, as I got on watching, it got a little boring. Why, you might ask? Oh, I don't know, maybe because of the goddamn filler. I agree that anime is different from manga and has its own charm, but in this case, the filler was just too much. The story and concept itself are nothing new. We've already seen a lot of anime that focus on certain people with special abilities going against extraordinary enemies to save the world they care so much about. And without a doubt, Twin Star Exodus is the same. It's not like the story completely sucks, it's just a lot more cliche. And it doesn't provide the required hook or impact on you. The story goes like this. Mid-school boy meets Exodus girl, they're destined to be the parents of the Miko, who is believed to be the reincarnation of the ultimate Exodus. They share their lives together trying to find a way out of the prophecy, ultimately end up falling in love with each other. At first the characters seem dull and insignificant, just like the story. The personalities are kind of flat and boring, but the chemistry, interaction and development make things a little better. The protagonist Rukuru is a powerful character who doesn't want to return to being an Exodus after a traumatic childhood experience. He's the kind of character without much depth, kind of annoying, and like every major character wants to protect others and become stronger. His actions are pretty predictable. The main female character, Benyo, also doesn't have much depth to her. She is the cool and silent type of character, and another powerful Exodus, but after a few episodes she shows us that friendly, more sensitive side. The two main characters' relationship develops after a lot of episodes, and it happens pretty much the same way each time. Something bad happens, they think they're strong enough to face it, they fail, they get angry and cry, do some training, get overpowered, and win. The chemistry between them gets better, and they become more into each other. The interactions sometimes become funny and cute, which helps strengthen their relationship, but after a certain time skip, they remain completely the same, which makes me wonder, was the development even necessary? The rest of the cast is pretty forgetful. Most of the characters are just there to fill their role, and they have very little depth. The art itself is not the best out there, but it's quite satisfying. The biggest problem, however, is the animation. The scenes are often reused with the same movement patterns again and again, and generally the show is just poorly animated. It might be something that you can get used to, but it's a little off-putting watching action scenes that don't have the impact that they should have. But as we get into the anime, it does get slightly better. It's just not quite enough to give it that impact that it should have. The original soundtrack is decent. The opening and closing are fine enough. However, after a while they become pretty uninteresting. The second ending isn't significant either. However, the second opening is actually quite good and uses the best animation they've used so far. The third opening, however, is rather bland and kind of feels out of place. The third closing, however, is much more lively and enjoyable than the other two. Let's go over the pros first. Unfortunately, there aren't many. The art and music are alright, but nothing special, with overall decent voice acting. The story gets a bit interesting as it develops, but to be honest, you have to wade through a lot to get there. Now the cons. Most of the story seems like filler. They added too many original characters and moved in characters they needed to be shown later, much earlier. They keep showing the name of the attacks, which adds more time to each episode. More importantly, the characters don't seem as interesting as in the manga. Yes, it is an anime and it's never as good as the manga, but god, I hate filler. Wrapping it up, I have to say that I didn't enjoy the anime much. And if you have read the manga, I'm going to have to ask you to lower your expectations. The story feels dragged out and it isn't the greatest adaptation, with needless filler, gaps, and characters that were obviously mascots. The art and music provides a plus for me, but the story and characters were poor. Moreover, the enjoyment decreased for me every time I compared it to the manga. If you haven't gone through the manga, and you enjoy Shonen Exorcism, you might as well give this show a chance. All in all, it didn't quite cut it for me. I didn't enjoy it as much as the manga, so I'm going to give it a D. I won't recommend manga fans expect much from this series, but if you've got the spare time, give it a go.
Thanks for watching the video.
Please like and subscribe.